And hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here. If you have not already, please hit the like button below. Don't forget to share this out. Share this out with your friends. Share this out with your neighbors. Share this out with your favorite colleagues. Everyone. So share this out. And as you share this out, don't forget to subscribe in case I did not mention it. And as you do, don't forget to hit the bell. You don't want to miss out on anything because sometimes I'll upload something special. Other times it may be a weekly episode of The Message or maybe a weekly episode of Chasing Liberation. Speaking of Chasing Liberation, did you see that season finale last week? I hope you did. If you haven't yet, then after this, go ahead and check out last week's season finale of Chasing Liberation. I think you all will really enjoy it a lot. So, how is everyone? If you are here, go ahead and, put a 7 in the chat. Let me know you're here. Because I'm curious now. I'm very curious. Because you don't want to make me call on you. Don't make me call on you. But in any event, this week has been very interesting. So we're kind of coming down to the wire of season 1 of The Message. I hope that you all have been liking what we've been putting out so far. I will definitely be collecting feedback at some point for The Message as well as for Chasing Liberation because we want to ensure that season 2 is a step up and an improvement from season 1. Not to mention season 2 will be more of a full season of The Message because I know The Message started in January, whereas Chasing Liberation started in September. But that's because I had a lot more time. Well, maybe not a lot more time, but more time to put Chasing Liberation together as a docuseries. And that was pretty much what it was for me. But if you are here, go ahead and put a 7 in the chat. Let me know that you're here. Let me see you. Don't be shy. You're in a safe space. I promise you are in a safe space. Let me know you're here. Don't make me call on you like I said. But in any event, we are going to go ahead and pay some bills. And when we come back, we're going to be bringing up the woman of the hour, the educated natural. I am so excited to have her here. I'm so excited to be having a conversation and to get to know who she is, as well as you all getting to know the type of content she puts out. And then knowing several good reasons as to why you should tune in. So we're going to be paying some bills, and when we come back, we're going to get with it. So let's get to it. Promotional considerations have been paid by the following.
Hi guys, I am Me.
I'm your boy Weeze.
And welcome back to Me and I.
Now, our channel Me and I is about several things.
A lot.
We have travels. We have weight loss. Our marriage. This year made 23 years for us. We talk about support. We just
Channel of Blessings.
We do restaurant, black-owned restaurant reviews. Like you said, Channel of Blessings, where we showcase a YouTube channel and highlight them. We also go live every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. So if you're looking for a fun time where at 9 o'clock we toast and cheer and show love, we celebrate wins and losses. Come over every Saturday at 8:30 to our Saturday live special. From what the streets saying, it's one of the best lives on the Saturday night. I ain't said it. That's what the streets say. So if you're looking for a good time, come over to Sippin. Come over to Me and I. And our channel, subscribe to it. We definitely love to have you. Tell me about our second channel, baby.
The second one is Sippin With Me and I. No G. It's your GPS to black-owned spirits. We spotlight black-owned brands. We taste test. We review, and we have brown table interviews.
Where black-owned owners of brands will come over to celebrate and talk about their brand, guys. So we got 2 channels for you. I'm pretty sure you'll find value in both. But coming over to Me now, and we'll definitely have a good time with you.
All right, and we're back. So yes, please check out Meet and I and check out Sippin with Me and I. We already had Meet and I over for an episode of The Message. Hopefully for season 2, we can get sipping with Meet and I. So maybe we can get to some of those Black-owned spirits because I'm not opposed to trying them. I mean, I'm not a drinker, but anything that can go into this cup and make it look good and taste good, I'm here for it. All right. So, our guest is known for her artesian spotlights, as well as bringing education upon her platform to ensure that you leave her channel more educated than you would approach the channel. So, bringing up to the stage, we're going to bring up the legendary, the beautiful, and the articulate, the amazing, the educated natural. Hey, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Because once I first saw you, I was like, who is this young lady?
Oh, thank you. It was such an honor to be with you today.
I was like, I need to meet her. I just had to just converse because anyone who stands upon the platform of their education or of their intellect is someone that I love to have around me, not just on social media or anything like that, but on a daily, because there's some things sometimes I just like to have that intellectual dialogue.
Yes.
And of course, some of the things that, I'll ask will be more on the intellectual aspect, but something that's also simple too. But let's get right to, before we get right to it, I made the announcement last week that I got my name trademarked, right?
Yes, congratulations. You better slap that R up there.
I just had to figure out how to type it in here because I got it on my social media. I just don't have it on here, and I'm just not understanding why. I don't know how you do it, but it's amazing.
Yeah, it's just you just put it right beside your name where you type your name in.
Yeah, I know that.
You just put the shortcut, which is you hold down the control button, and then you type what is it? 174?
174?
Yeah, I believe that's it.
And that's on a PC, right? Because right about now, my laptop's in the shop.
So you're on your phone?
No, I'm on a different laptop. I'm just not on a Mac.
Yes. No, this is a PC. Yeah, I have a PC.
Okay, so he said Control 174?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Ooh. That didn't work.
That didn't work? Okay, hold on.
Wait. I'm trying it again. It keeps taking me away from the page when I do it. I don't know if that was intentional or not.
Let's
see. I might have to try it later, but
yeah.
In any of it, because I need to get that up there so everyone needs to know. Because I said put some respect on my name, and I know everyone's putting respect on your name.
Yes.
So, can you tell us? I know you probably mentioned this 100 times, but my first question for sure is, how did you come up with your amazing channel name? Because that was one of the first things that just caught my eye. I was like, whoa, okay. Let me figure out what she's about.
Well, I can't take no credit for that. That was all God. What happened was I have such a common name, and being in social media, you have to try to separate yourself from everyone else.
Right.
So I knew I couldn't use my name. So one day back in 2013, my oldest daughter and I were sitting at the table, and ironically, the song by The Dream came on the radio called, what is it? Shawty is a 10. Yeah. And so that song came on and we were grooving out to it. We was working on one of her school projects. We was grooving out to it. And I made the joke that I'm just a jokester with my daughters. And so I was like, I'm a 10. And we both just burst out laughing. And so the 10 just would not leave my head. So I went to bed on it. Got up the next day, 10 was just still ringing in my head. But I was like, I can't just call myself 10. I got to put a twist on it. So I just started praying about it, asking God to lead me. And I just took the T, the E, and the N, and I kind of wrote it vertically. And I said, okay, what words can I bring off of this acronym? And word by word, and then I had literally that year finished my master's degree, and it was like educated, and natural came from my hair. And then anytime I show up, I'm naturally me. I'm just going to be me. And so
Right.
of course, I went to my daughter. What do you think of this name? Tell me if it sounds corny or whatever. And she's like, no, I like it. It fits. So when my husband got off work, I took it to him, my biggest critic and supporter. And I said, if anybody's going to tell me the truth, it's going to be him. I took it to him and he said, perfect. That's it. That's you all day. That's you. And so when I took it to my coach at the time, my business coach at the time, she said, oh, that's perfect. And so that's how the Educated Natural was born. It was from a prayer and that song.
Wow, that is so amazing. Not to mention it came from a dream song. I didn't know you had children. That was going to be one of my other questions, but you slept on it and then you came up with your daughter liked it, your husband loved it, and you say he was your biggest critic and your coach loved it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
I love that so much. We're going to get more into your journey for your bachelor's and master's in a minute.
Okay.
But can you tell me what or who inspired you to become a content creator?
My coach at the time. I was always a person that was completely camera shy. I would make everyone else look good on camera, tell them what to say, coach them through it, tell them exactly what to do. But I was like, I'm not doing it. And she met me. Oh, I met her through YouTube. I was always on YouTube. I just didn't have a channel, but I was always watching other people create content. And that's how I found her and fell in love with her content, loved her personality. We had a lot of similar things with the military in common. So I reached out to her and told her who I was, and her and I started talking. We started to like each other. And she says, hey, I have a challenge going on. You want to be a part of it? And I'm still new to her. So I'm like, what kind of challenge? And she was like, well, I'm doing a 60-day video challenge.
Exactly.
And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. No. But my then coach was like, did not take no as an answer. That was like not in her category. She was like, nope, you're on my team. Everybody's going to do it. Video is where it's at. And I was like, not for me. I'm not doing it. So she was like, do it afraid. You can do this. You have a voice. Everybody needs to hear it. She gave me this long spiel and I was still saying, no, not me. And I don't know if she prayed. I don't know what she did. But all I know is I was completely disturbed in my spirit because God would not let me rest about this whole video thing.
Right.
So it was her. She pushed me for those 60 days every day. She said, I don't care what you make a video of, but every day just make a video. And that's what got me started making videos and creating content. It was her, because at first social media was just something you do in your spare time, but she showed me and pushed me to realize the value in creating content. It was her.
Wow, that sounds wonderful. I wish I could have had a coach like that. I just kind of went on a limb when it came down to creating content. Now, don't get me wrong. I have content from many, many years back that's on my channel and came from a previous existence. It even came from even something as recent as just my admiration for some of my favorite artists. And whenever I would go and see them perform at like a festival or an event, I would just bring the camera out, shoot until the phone dies, because the phone was my camera.
Right.
And seeing many people who I admire being content creators, it just really, it provoked a lot of thought within me to say, why not just become a content creator? But then what kind of content would I create? And then I started off with a docuseries about who I am, me, my day-to-day, what I stand for,
right.
my foundations, the things that drive me. And if I was going to do it, I wanted to do it with purpose.
Right.
And that's the purpose. That was the point of having both Chasing Liberation as a docuseries and the message as a talk style live stream platform.
Okay.
So I really do. I cannot say how grateful I am that you are a content creator, and a natural one at that, because I thought I was
Thank
the
you.
only one that was natural around here, because these days I gotta be natural because all this influctuation with the weather and I mean, some people may not know that I'm natural, but I am. I don't have a relaxer or anything, and I haven't had one in years. It's just I just like to keep it as tame as I could possibly be.
There you go.
Absolutely. So you have a brand that highlights art and creativity as well as engagingly intellectual dialogue. So what was your strategy for curating a culture where Black art and Black entrepreneurship is highlighted and appreciated?
Well, my strategy was I had to pull from my upbringing. I had to be able to connect with the people that I felt that God was leading me to. It would have been too easy just to throw something out there and see what stuck. But I decided to create something, like you said earlier, on purpose, with a purpose. And as the days went by, the planning, the strategy was mainly come up with a system to where you don't have to be anyone else other than yourself. Come up with a way that people, when they hear it, they see you, they get the message, and it's clear. And it's God led, not Kim led. So I had to just come up with a way to connect with people on a level they didn't see it coming. There's nothing worse than showing up to someone's channel or wherever their content may be, and you already know what they're going to say before they even say it. You already know what they're going to do before they do it. So I had to come up with a unique way that kind of kept people on their toes, and it made them say, I never thought about it like that. So my brand is all about being an original, being unique, and making people think about things that maybe on a typical day they don't think about. So the strategy was completely surrounded by getting people to think, because once you get people to think, everything else will follow. My grandmother used to say, if you get control of someone's mind, then the body will follow. So I use content to make people think, and that way they'll say, you know what, I could be doing something better. There is more for me out there. I'm settling. Man, I didn't even know I was settling, but listening to the Educated Natural, she made me go, I can do better than this. There is something else left in this tank. So that was the whole strategy, just to get people to come out of their comfort zone and to stretch a little bit further and to never give up. So that was my whole strategy.
That was so beautiful. And especially to derive that from your upbringing, you really brought something that should be normalized, but it's starting to become normalized, which is Black entrepreneurship and appreciating Black art. I mean, even such with me, I even went to an event at school a few weeks ago where they highlighted Black entrepreneurship for like Black women. It's actually a panel of Black women who were entrepreneurs. And one of them was one of my colleagues in my work study. And I had no idea that she even had a business. So I was like, wait a minute, she looked familiar. And then when I realized it was her, and 2 days later, I saw her at work. I was like, that was you? Oh, what business you got? Because I came in late.
Right.
I recognized her and I was like, wait a minute. But I didn't realize it was her. I was like, you have a business? Because she's a grad student and she's running a business. I said, oh my goodness.
Wow.
I'm like, that is dope. And she is like a 26-year-old young Black graduate student. Very intelligent, very cool, kind, talented. And I cannot say enough how much we need to begin normalizing Black entrepreneurship more.
Yes.
And Black art.
I agree.
And Black art for sure.
Definitely.
But in any event, have you actually created any kind of art, like whether it be a sculpture or a painting or Have you published any books? This is not even something I jotted down, but it was something that just came from the dome.
Yes, I create art all the time. I'm still trying to learn how to draw, but I create what's known as acrylic pouring art. And I use resin as well. So I create resin art. I recently started to, and I was telling my husband, I said, I don't know what this is, but I cannot shake it. So I'm just going to go with it. But I've really been watching a lot of pottery where people are sculpting with their hands. And that is just so intriguing to me. So maybe that's my creative side, just acting, saying, hey, activating. And so I'm like, I really want a pottery wheel. I really want to be able to just sculpture something. I don't know why. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I can just feel that deep down. Like it's just calling me. It's like pulling me, like there is more to this art thing. And I really have to pay attention to it. So yes, I have sold actually some of my acrylic art pieces. And it's a very relaxing thing, Angelina. When I tell you, when I'm in there, people's like, why don't you turn on the camera? Why don't you record yourself? That's content. But sometimes when you're in that zone, you don't even think about the camera. So yes, I love creating art in various ways.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. Well, I'm definitely going to have to check out the actual art itself because at some point I hope to have a bigger place. So in the next year or so, for those who are members of my jury, if you see a change in scenery, like a permanent change, that means I moved. And I'm open to like presents, including some art from the Educated Natural here. So I could make the place more intimate and just thought-provoking. So just give everybody a heads up. But
you think you're going to change states, or you're going to stay in the same state?
So I want to stay in the same area for now because I'm still an undergrad. But once I get my master's, then I would like to go to a different state for law school. Gotcha. I would love to do that. BDBGP says, 10, you're an artist. That's what's up. So am I. So I would love to stay in state for now, but then when time comes for law school, I would love to go somewhere else because I did pretty much almost everything I could here. And although there have been so many shifts and changes in my support system, I just know that for me, at some point, it's best to just, start a new chapter and be somewhere a little bit different where I can best put my skills to work and to create my own sense of generational wealth based upon all this education that I'm getting,
Right. Yes.
So, but that's pretty much the plan. But moving out of state's not going to be for another maybe 3 years or 4 years, depending on what this master's program is going to be giving.
Right.
So speaking of education, the members of my jury are fully aware of my educational journey as I'm navigating it for the most part. Now, if you don't know my educational journey, not you, but the proverbial you, like if some of you don't know my educational journey, then you must be new and it's okay. But go ahead and watch Chase of Liberation. You may see a little bit of it. But can you share with the jury your educational journey and any pitfalls that anyone watching who may be considering going back to school should be aware of?
Ooh, how much time do we have?
As much time as you like.
My educational journey was not an easy journey. I honestly wouldn't have even gone as far as I have in college if it wasn't for my husband. My husband and I he challenges me. And so when we got married, we quickly had our first daughter. So at that age and at that time, he was going to school way before we got married. So by the time we got married, he was finishing up his undergrad. And I hadn't even started yet because I still wasn't sure if I wanted to go to college, but he wasn't having that. And so after I gave birth and I really started to go back to school because he's one of those people that says, hey, you should be doing this. He is a leader. So, leaders are going to pull those that's with them to be leaders too, and to get out there and expand your mind and educate yourself. And so he was like, look, we have a new daughter now. We have to be the example for her. You got to get this degree. By any means necessary, you have to go back to school. So being a wife, being a mom, trying to go back to school, and also being in the military. So we're moving. And so it wasn't a smooth journey. But when I finally accomplished that undergraduate, I was shouting from the rooftops, I'm done. I don't want to do that no more. But right as I'm wrapping up my undergraduate, my husband upped the ante. He goes to get his master's. And I'm like, this joker here. I'm sitting here happy. I'm almost done. And he wants to up the ante. And so he went on and finished his master's. And I'm just looking at him with the side eye like, how dare you? And he's like, yeah, what you gonna do now? What you gonna do now? And so he starts challenging me. So he gets this huge degree. He has both his undergraduate and his graduate degree in this huge frame. And every day he walks by, he said, look at that, look at that. And I'm like, you know, in mine, I got my little single degree, right? And I'm like, so don't nobody care about that. So every day he just kept poking the bear, just poking me with his master's. And I got sick of it. So I said, you know what? Fine. I'm going to get my master's too. It's like, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. Oh, yes, I am. So we had this back and forth banter going on between us with these degrees. Yes. So just so happens one day I was, playing with my daughter, and I looked at her. I said, you know what? If there's anybody in this world I want you to look up to, I want it to be me. And I went on and I registered for my master's degree. And when my husband saw it, he was kind of like, I know you, you're going to get a what? And I said, I'm going for my MBA. If I'm going to get a master's degree, I'm going to get a master's degree. And he was like, there is no way, because he knows how I struggled during my undergraduate with some of the classes, because I was like up like it was late nights and early mornings with these classes, and I was like, I'm gonna get this. And so when it came to my master's degree, he was like, you're really shooting high, And I was like, yes, because if I'm gonna go to the master's, you might as well get something that's gonna, get people's attention. And he happened to, right when I was starting really getting into my master's degree program, he was deployed for a whole year. And so I made a vow to myself. So at this point now I have 2 kids. And at this point, I'm like, my husband's gone. I have a year to finish up this degree. Now, usually with a master, it takes you like 2 years. I finished that in less than 2 years because I was taking 3 classes at certain terms, 2 classes. I was determined to get it done before he returned home. And I actually, the month after he returned was when I graduated with my master's. And I just looked at my girls and I was like, now it's on y'all. Your dad has set the bar high. I've set the bar high. You may not go get your master's, but at least you can't say mom and dad didn't set the good path for you to follow. And it was him. I would have never went and definitely not gotten an MBA. But like I said, I was settled, honestly, to be honest with y'all, I was settled when I got my 2-year degree. I was happy at an associate's degree.
Oh my gosh.
But my husband kept poking the bear. And when I say I was done, I was like, it was too much going on, being a wife and a mom. I was like, I want something. I was working. I was like, no. But he kept pushing me. And I have to give him credit where credit is due. And I always have. I have those degrees because of him. I truly believe God was just using him to poke me, because God knows, I love a challenge. So he used the right one. So yeah, it's all thanks go to him. All glory go to God, but all thanks go to him for that push.
That is such an amazing story. And see, your husband sounds like a wonderful person. He was challenging you.
Yes.
Like the people you love will challenge you.
Yes.
To reach higher, to always reach higher.
Yes.
And that's because they know you can do it. And I cannot say enough how blessed I see that you are, but also how blessed anyone is who has a person in their corner who can say, you got this, keep going, don't stop now.
Because I tell you, I was crying on my master's degree because I went directly from my undergraduate right into my master's degree. So it was a very short, just a semester break for me just to kind of regroup a little bit. And so by the time I was in my last few weeks of school before graduation, I was in tears. I was exhausted because I pushed myself to the limit because I wanted to be done by a certain time. And so, yes, I'm telling you, anyone that's out there, if you're in school, you're thinking about it, you can do this. You just have to. Yes, Angelina, you can do that. If you really want it, it's not going to be easy. So it's not going to be easy. It may feel like sometimes you may think it's a waste of time. I don't know what I'm doing this for. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with myself about that. But I looked at the end goal. It's like a marathon. You're not going to finish as soon as you start. You got to run the race to get to the finish. And so if I could encourage anyone, if you're thinking about going to school, go. You have that power. You have that authority. You have so many opportunities. Go. Nobody can stop you but you. Go.
Absolutely. Make it happen. And I'm personally receiving those words because, like I mentioned, I'm in school right now. I'm in undergrad. And hearing that every now and then definitely goes a long way, especially in moments when, for me, I experience setbacks. I would always believe in my mind, I'm pretty sure I was like, Kimberly must have gotten straight A's in every single class.
Yeah.
No. And then here's old Angelina who's struggling in statistics and accounting class.
Believe it or not, those two classes were a challenge, but no, I had to just get a lot of help. My husband, luckily, is very good with numbers. So he was able to kind of break it down to where I could learn it and grasp it. Because sometimes those books can be like, huh?
So that's what the books are to me. It's like, and I don't even have a husband that's good with numbers.
Yeah, so I feel you. I feel you. People's like, how did you get through stats and how did you get through accounting? How did you get through finance classes? I'm like, prayer. Just
I will have to start praying like seriously, especially since I have to take 2 accounting classes. I'm still in the middle of one statistics class. Okay. I'm in the middle of the first accounting class. I still have one more next semester, and then at some point I have to take finance.
What are you getting your degree in, if you don't mind me asking?
Human resources management. That'll be my bachelor's.
Okay.
And then I'm also trying to set the bar high enough where I could do the 4+1 program where I can start on a couple of my master level courses simultaneously so that I don't have to spend 2 or 3 years in a master's program, but instead I could do it in one if I can help it. Because I'm ready to go. And then after that, law school, of course.
Whew, law school. You go head on with your bad self.
Thank you so much. That's one of the reasons why I really wanted to have this dialogue with you, because I feel like you've been through so much of what I'm going through right now, and I know that you'll shed a lot of light on this particular topic, education, that particular path. What did you get your degree in? Your bachelor's and your master's?
Business administration. All my degrees are in business administration.
Okay, so we hit in.
Right.
so you know exactly what I'm going
through
right now.
I do.
Taking accounting, statistics. Yes. In my case, they're making me take 2 accounting classes, even though I'm a human resources major. Wow. What else are they making me take? I had to take finance, but it's only one finance class. Okay. I'm taking marketing. I'm okay with marketing because the professor is making it cool.
That's cool. Professors make a big difference.
Yeah, so it's just hard, and I'm like this close to being a senior. It's just I have a couple of barriers in the way. One of them being, of course, these classes. Because this was a very tough semester, taking statistics and accounting at the same time.
Yes,
and of course, I signed up for tutoring for both. But then the other thing is, and this is another thing that I want to say to those who are either in school or thinking about going back to school. I'm dealing with I'm dealing with tuition fees at a previous university, and they're holding transcripts hostage. So it's kind of to the point where when a university is holding your transcript hostage and preventing you from continuing your education because of either any kind of debt, that's, I mean, on their side they think, oh, that's just business, but then on the student side it's like, oh, that is like torture because you're withholding someone's future, and that's just it to me it's heartless, but I mean to other people they may disagree. So when it comes down to it, if you can avoid owing the actual university directly, please avoid that. At least with the loans, you deal with that after you get your degree. But if you owe the university directly, it's a different story. They'll hold your degree, I mean, your transcripts hostage, and certain classes that you need, will prevent you from graduating. It's a thing. So,
wow, I didn't even know that.
Yes, and you now some states are in the process of changing those particular rules around. I just hated didn't get to the state where I went to the previous school in, but they're doing it in more progressive places. But it's not so much taking place in like the South and parts of the Midwest. So yeah, they do hold people's transcripts hostage when you owe a debt.
Wow, I thought one of my family members said that their father's his death certificate was being held up by the funeral home because they owed a fee.
Right.
They held that. So I didn't know colleges are holding transcripts, and wow.
It's an American thing.
I guess so.
Because think about it, most other countries, not even most, but many other countries, especially in Europe, offer post-secondary education either for a very affordable price and in some cases for free, whereas in the United States, it's the opposite. You're paying thousands of dollars out of pocket every year. You're having to take out thousands of dollars in student loans that don't even really cover the whole tuition. I mean, you get the Pell Grant, which is great. You may even get some scholarships if you're really good, but then you're still in debt even getting out of it. And then when inflation takes place, raising the price from here to here to here, the wages are here, but then they don't raise the minimum wage. And then you're here, but you need to take care of this here.
Right.
That's the kind of thing that, had it not been for the fact that I'm in school right now, or had it not been for the fact that I'm still going for my degree, I personally would more likely not be in the U.S. Just gonna be honest, because it's way too much going on with the capitalism, with political war, the lack of control of firearms and things that people don't want to take control of, and people losing their lives left and right, especially our babies. Our babies. And then some people rather hold on to their cash cow versus caring for our babies and for everyone's well-being.
Yes. I was just having a conversation about that, and I was like, these poor, there's like, it's across the board. But when you hear the stories about children just going to school and stuff like that, it's crazy. It just really doesn't even make any sense.
It kind of makes you wonder, like, are they not worth you putting the gun down and just saying, no, you need to put it away. You actually don't even need access to an AR-15. You don't need access to an AK-47. You don't need access to any of those.
Not at all.
Why? These are things that are meant to kill. It's not for hunting. There's certain things that are meant for hunting, and then there's other things that are meant to do other things that are so much more harmful. And then when it gets to the point where innocent lives are being lost.
Yes.
And no one's doing anything about it. It seems like after a while, we should be thinking it's only a matter of time before we may need to really, since they're not doing anything about it, we need to do something about it. Maybe it's best to remove ourselves from the situation. Now, I know the rebuttal for many people will be, oh, well, I don't have the money to move to another country. I don't have a passport. That's real. But you may not have very much after a while if you just stay and then no one's doing anything about it.
And of course, you got the people on the other side that says, oh, even if you move to another country, they have their own set of issues too. If it happens here, it's going to happen there.
And then I would be like, that's a lie, because they don't have the mass shooting problems that the United States has. The numbers show.
This is
and I'll be like, you want me to pull it up for you? And then I'll get really mad.
Ooh, that'll be a serious debate right there. Ooh.
Yes, but they will be just fine. But if it wasn't for the degree, for me being in school, I would have been gone. Done.
I understand.
I would have been willing to learn another language, preferably Spanish, of course. And just being able to not have to worry about stepping outside and accidentally going into the wrong building or going to the wrong door, and then I get hurt.
Right.
I'm just saying, but I'm getting off my soapbox on that. Now, I'm still shocked you said you have 2 babies. I'm like, wait a minute. But how? You're only what, like 25, 24?
I'll take it. Yes, I have 2 growing. Well, one's already grown, but one is almost grown.
But how? And you look every bit of your 20s.
The stork brought him. The stork. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
And then next thing you know, you'll tell me that you may have a 3rd one on the way.
Oh, no. We sending that back to you. What? The second person today that has tried to give me a baby. I'm like, no, I'm sending that back. No.
You don't want a 3rd one?
No, man, no.
Oh, come on. They may love to have you.
No, not these 2 spoiled kids.
But you said one is almost grown.
And she already said, "Ma, you have another one. I'm out." She's like, I'm changing my number and everything.
Oh no, come on.
And as spoiled as my youngest one is, no, I was holding my niece, my great niece, with my youngest. We all were there visiting at home, and I was just holding it because my niece had a baby, and I was playing with the baby, happy aunt. And my youngest one saw me holding that baby, and I stood up with her, and because my niece was about to leave, so I was going to walk them to the car. And my youngest one saw that. She said, She stood between me. She was like, they about to push the baby out of my arms. She said, "Give it back." She was like, "Give it back, give it back." I was like, "I'm not keeping her. I'm just taking her to her car seat in the car." She was like, "No."
Oh my goodness! How old is the youngest one?
Well, she's 16 now. Yes.
Was she 16 when that happened?
No, she was probably 5 or 6.
Oh.
Yeah, but she was not trying to hear that at all. But no, we're not having no, ma'am. No.
Not wanting another one.
No,
what is wrong with wanting another one?
No. I tell my kids every day, y'all are so blessed to be here, because my body didn't like it at all. At all. At all. I said, no, I'm done. Even my husband was like, "I am so sorry." I was like,
"You sorry? But you did it twice."
I was so sad.
And you sorry. And then I'm the one who went through it, not you.
Listen, my 2 kids, after the first one, when I say we were like, okay, we're done. That was a crazy ride. We're done. My kids are 9 years apart. That's how done we were. So that second one was like, huh? Who? What?
That actually reminds me of my brother and myself. We're 8 years apart.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah, he's 8 years older than I am. And there's a thing. And it's like, yo, the way you think and the way I think are very different. Not to mention, the way that I see things is very different from the way you see. We're like night and day.
Well, that's how my brothers and I are.
And let me guess, you the youngest.
I am, and the only girl.
Oh yeah, you're the youngest. Come on through. Just like how Angie Pooh coming on through with Philly.
Hey.
But yes, you're the youngest. How's it feel to be the youngest? Aren't you?
Oh, it was great. I was like that terrible little sister to my brother.
Oh my goodness.
I used to give them a run for their money when I was younger. Because, being the only girl, I was my grandparents' only granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that speaks for itself. And my brothers are 2 years apart. And my oldest brother and I are 9 years apart. Ooh. And then so there was a big difference there to bring in this little girl, that everybody was just fighting over because I was the only girl. So they were kind of like, oh boy.
One, they can't give you they can't treat you like you're a brother.
But they did. Yes, my brothers told me from day one, from being a little kid, they were like, wrestling with me and fighting with me. They was like, we're not gonna have some punk little sister. That was their words. And so when I say that we would get in there and they would treat me just like another boy. But when somebody else would come and they'd leave my little sister alone, so they were very protective when I was younger. But of course, by us being such a wide age difference, by the time I got up, some size, they were out there chasing girls. They forgot about their little sister. They forgot about me. I had to fend for myself.
Oh no, not you having to fend for yourself.
Yes, they had their own life and their own decisions.
Wow, that was amazing. That's so wild that there's these age gaps between siblings, and I didn't know it was that common. It's starting to sound like it's more common than I imagined.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, sometimes I wish that we weren't so far apart in age. I would have loved to have went to the same school as him or him going to the same school as me. But because of certain circumstances, we weren't able to, even with the age difference, because of certain things going on with me and certain things going on with him. So yeah. And by the time I became of age too, he moved on. He was in Florida living his best life before Ron DeSantis, of course.
Oh.
But yeah, but wow, 9 years between your two daughters. That is amazing.
I thought my doctor had lost someone. I said, no, you have somebody else's test results. There is no way. And I had the coolest doctor. She was just laughing the whole time. And she was like, oh, yes.
Yes. Now, before I forget, there's a question I wanted to ask, but I didn't write it down. Have you considered going back to school for your doctorate?
I've thought about it, and I've thought about it. I don't think I'm going to be doing that. I just, having the degree that I have, I've just been told there's really just no need, that it would probably be a waste of time and money. Now, my husband's thinking about going back for his doctorate because he has some extra credits, from the things he's done for the military. But I said, you go right on ahead. I'll be cheering you. You're not getting me this time. I'm not going to do it.
Oh, come on.
Wow. Did you not hear me say I was crying my last few semesters of my master's degree? No.
I mean, was it that bad?
Yes.
So wait, they didn't make you take accounting and statistics again in the master's program like they do in the undergrad, did they?
I had to take economics. I had to take accounting. I had to take a finance course. Of course, all the business. Yes, all the business courses, just at a higher, more stressful level.
Oh, hell no.
Exactly. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I think what PhD is another 4 years or so?
Yeah, 3 to 4 years.
Oh,
Either
no.
PhD or you could do an EDD.
Ooh, no.
Like the EDD is more educational based, using for
Right.
teaching, and then the PhD is more research based.
Whew, I'm gonna leave that. Ask somebody else to do it. No.
I mean, I would love to have a doctorate, but if I go for a
I would
doctorate,
too, but
it would be a doctorate in law, though. It would be like a
that'd be-
JSD,
right.
because the JD, the law school for the JD is not going to be enough. I need to get the JD, I need to get the LLM, and I need to get the JSD.
Wow.
That's what I want.
Okay.
Now, I'm not necessarily going to be researching like after getting those, but I want to at least have that sense of understanding,
right?
So I can be the best damn lawyer and judge I could be.
That's what I'm talking about. That'd be nice. You know what kind of law?
Call me doctor when I get the JSD.
Nice. See, that's what I wanted. I just wanted that. It's funny, my husband. That's all you want. I'm like, I just want the doctor title, and I want to be able to wear the cap and gown. I love the doctorate's cap and gown for graduation. I just think that's the coolest thing ever.
Is it any different from like the undergrad and the master's?
Yes, they got this whole little robe thing. It's got the little, well, I guess it depends on what school you go to. The little black things on the shirt. They got a little hat.
Oh, yes.
I just love their outfit. I just love their outfit. But those hours. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I definitely would love to have that too, because even though it'll be a while till I get a master's, I've seen people wear their robes, and I'm like, I want one of those. I want to make sure to keep it this time, because I don't know what happened to the robe that I wore when I graduated from high school. I think they took it back afterwards. And for the college one, if they're making me pay for it, I need to keep it. I need to keep the tab. I need to keep the hat. I need to keep everything.
Yes.
And hopefully the masters will take no more than a year or a year and a half tops. After that, I want to keep that robe too.
That's it. I have mine. So yes, keep them.
For sure. So aside from your engaging content on YouTube, what is your career? Not to be too like intrusive, but we nosy over here. What is your day-to-day, career?
Just running my business. I left corporate America when my second daughter was a baby. So I was working for the government then. And once I had her, the mommy vibes kicked in. I had, 2 children. My husband's career was kicking off. And I was like, not sure if I want to go back. And then, after weaning her from breastfeeding and all that stuff, and I was like, I don't want to be home. I want to go back to work. So it's amazing how God works, because I applied for so many jobs back in corporate America, could not get hired.
That's what I'm going through right now when it comes to human resource internships. I'm going through that exact same thing. And that's one of the reasons why I'm very much ready to move to a different state once I get my master's degree, is because of that right there. And I already know what city I want to move to. I have an idea of which school I want to transfer to after getting the master's.
Nice.
It's just a matter of giving myself that permission to move forward.
Right? That's it. But
wow, corporate America, you stepped out of, was it an easy decision to make? And if so, how? And if not, what were some of the concerns that you had, that you thought of in mind when you were making a decision?
No, it was not an easy choice. I went kicking and screaming, because I was always raised to, I'm just going to say it plainly, like my grandmother told me, you always keep your own check. And I was raised that way. And I always had my own money. I always had my own career. And after having my second daughter, I had to make, a decision, because she did have some medical things going on, and she needed mommy, and I had to make a decision, career or my kids. And it was a no-brainer. I had to choose my children. And so to walk away from that, I felt like it was like this punch in the gut. And I was like, I miss my job. I miss my career. But, thank God for my husband, because he saw I was struggling. He literally put me to the side and he said, listen, he said, family first. He says, if you take care of this house, I'll take care of everything else. And he promised me. And because I was like, I can't put all that on you. He says, no, I'm a man. This is my family. It's our family. It's my job. It's my duty. He said, I will bust my tail every day in the military. You just take care of our girls in this house. I got everything else. And so it made the transition a little bit better, but then it was an internal thing as a woman. I was like, I need my job. So I kept applying and kept applying and kept applying. And God was just saying, no, no, no. This is how I've set it up for you. And by the grace of God, I've never skipped a beat. My husband's career has been soaring. Everything has worked out according to what God said it would do. He said he would take care of me. And he has done just that. And so day to day, I'm able to build my own business. I'm able to try different things. If it doesn't work, shift or pivot and try something else, just to be able to walk the path that God has set out for me. And, you know, from getting my name registered to teaching other people how to do the same, as well as helping people build businesses and marketing and, you know, social media, period. Being able to give back in that way and be a voice for those that feel like they've been silenced has been a blessing. And so I said, you know what? It wasn't the way I would have wanted it to be, but it's the way God obviously orchestrated it. Because when I tell you I was applying for stuff I know I was overqualified for. I mean, stuff that high schoolers could get. I was just like, I just need a job. And God was saying no. And then, of course, you go through that thing. You're like, well, why did I go back to school for? You know, got this big, pretty degree. Why did I go back to school for? And I had to realize that degree wasn't about me. That was to show my next generation, which was my daughter, to say, listen, Mama broke a generational curse, because even though I have two older brothers, I'm the only one that finished high school and I'm the only one with a college degree. And so it was to make this path to show my daughters, if mommy can do it through everything she's gone through, you can do it too. So it wasn't about me. I was trying to make it about me until I had to look back and step back and look at the bigger picture and say, no, God used me and my life to be this example for my daughters. And also, I guess you could say, to humble me, because I was this leading female that always had to have it certain way. I always had to have my own check. I always had to have things did a certain way. And God used this entire experience since leaving corporate America to humble me and to say, Kim, it's okay to trust the man that God brought to you as your husband to take care of it. You got to trust him to do this. And so it took a lot. Like I said, I was, you know, kicking and screaming, but God has shown me he got us, and he has my husband and my husband has me. And so it's just working out that way. So it's been a blessing, even when I didn't think it was going to be. But to look back now, I'm like, wow, God has really brought us from a mighty long way. And all I can say, Angelina, is that it's just been a humbling experience to be able to just say, okay, God, I'm just going to trust you. I'm going to trust my husband. And he's done just that. He's taking care of everything.
I had to take several deep breaths as you were speaking. I was trying not to tear up too much.
Yeah.
Because I felt that when your husband told you that as long as you take care of the house and the girls, I will take care of everything else.
Yeah.
Got you. And that just touched me, because it kind of reminds me of what, in my observation, what society, or the American society, is lacking. And that is what we used to define as manhood.
Right.
And knowing that there's someone who cares that much about you to ensure that you can rebound. I'll take care of everything. Just take care of our compound. Yeah. Make this home so that, he knows that his heart is at home.
Right.
Then everything else will work itself out.
That's it.
And ooh, try not to tear up.
Yeah, please don't make me cry. Please don't make me cry.
Okay. That is so beautiful.
Yeah. If it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have been able to let go of the rings because I've been in charge of me for so long. And for him to say, I got this. You gotta, I had to literally just open up my hands, which sometimes I probably felt like he was pulling the rope out of my hands because I was like, ugh. But yeah,
I mean,
he's done it.
Even from what you were just saying, one of the things that I was able, or at least I was able to take away from what you shared in your testimony was sometimes it is best to let go, and we don't have to always be in control of everything. As much as we want to be in control of everything, I don't know what your zodiac sign is, but I know my zodiac sign, we love to be in control of everything. But it is okay to let go sometimes, especially if it's over the things that we thought that we had control over, but we really don't. Some
Right.
circumstances that we can't really overturn, unfortunately, we have to let go. And if someone else is willing to alleviate the
Right.
stressors behind it as we work through learning this particular lesson, and that is that you don't have to control everything. You don't have to take on everything by yourself.
Yes.
Then at least, everyone will have a purpose and everyone will feel just as important as, you do. Because now, I don't know if that brought you and your husband closer together, but if that
It
happened
did.
to me, I would have been kicking and screaming. I would have been doing the exact same thing because Leos, we don't like to give up control of anything. And like I said, I don't know what zodiac sign you are.
I'm an Aquarius, so.
Oh, so we're like sister sign. We're like the twin flame kind of thing. We don't like to let go of anything. We like to ensure that we're in control because when someone else is, it never goes the way it's supposed to go.
No.
So we have to take over. We have to fix it. And that's what Black women are known for, is fixing the mistakes of others.
Yeah. Definitely.
Definitely.
It was not easy. I'm telling you, it was not easy. And I kept saying, I kept saying it like if you were doing a trust fall, you have to have enough trust in the person that you're falling into to catch you. And that's what he was asking me to do. Trust me, I got you.
Yes, to trust, fall, and know that he's got your back, and vice versa. And not to mention, you're able to be there for the girls, for the babies, and have a presence because it's different for single parent households, and from my own experience, I was in a single parent household.
I was raised in one for a while. My mom remarried, so yeah, I understand.
And it was even to the point where, despite being a single parent household, I pretty much had to actually be there for myself, because being a single parent household means parents would rather work, they'd rather deal with whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're dealing with your own thing, but you don't feel comfortable with bringing it up to them. But I'm so happy that you and your husband set a new precedent for the babies. I cannot tell you how inspiring that is. That's something that I myself would definitely want to set. Not just a precedent for getting a bachelor's and a master's, but also creating generational wealth.
Yes.
You have your own business.
Yes. And I homeschool my youngest daughter. So.
Wow. And that's another thing. Homeschooling, because the way that things are going on, and we've seen what happened in Tennessee. We've seen what happened in we've seen what happened with Ralph Yarrow. We've seen what happened with a lot of people.
Yes.
Our babies are not safe.
The one place you thought they would be.
And the one place you thought they would be, they're not safe. And even, they're not safe at school. They're not safe at the mall. They're not safe at the movies. They're not safe in church. They're not safe in the synagogue. They're not safe anywhere.
It's getting out of hand, completely out of hand.
For sure. So, I mean, if it were me, I would do the exact same thing, except I'll be homeschooling every single child. They would not They will not be going to the schoolhouse unless I'm like, I'm going to the schoolhouse with you.
Right.
Because I dare somebody to lay a hand on my baby, but that's just me being a person that likes to be in control. I know I can't be there 24 hours a day because mommy has to work.
Right.
And daddy has to work too.
That's it.
But let's see. So if you were to engage into a passion project, in case you haven't already, what would that be and why?
Oh, wow. Passion project. That's a good question.
You're welcome. I'm just kidding. But yeah, what is your passion project?
Because I'm so attached to the military, and I know what that journey is all about from both sides, active duty as well as spouse, I would have to say I would do something for the military spouse, because a lot of people don't understand that journey from new spouses to seasoned spouses. And a lot of people have this preconception of what a military family period is. And so I would literally love to be able to work with our senior level officials to come up with a viable either program, a conference, or an event quarterly, or some sort of event to get the spouses together, because there are a lot of spouses that feel like they have no life, they have no career, they have nothing, but because they're supporting the soldier. I would really love to be able to do something for that group, because sometimes the spouse always says, they've forgotten about us. It's all about the service member. So to let them know that I see you, I hear you, I am you. I would love to work with our higher officials. That would be a passion project, just to be able to get out there and say, look, this is what's really going on from a spousal standpoint. And of course, military spouses aren't just women. There are men too, because sometimes the woman is the one that's the active duty service member. So just to get everybody's eyes on this issue as it pertains to the family of the military member, because it truly makes, and I can speak for my husband, but it truly makes that active duty service member more comfortable in their job. They can stay more focused in their job when they know that their spouse and their kids are taken care of, and that spouse isn't going through, let's say, postpartum or any type of depression, because the soldier may be gone for months to years at a time. You don't know where they are. You may not be able to hear from them. You don't know what's going on. You just know they're not home. So to have a place where they can go and just talk, because sometimes all they need is a listening ear to just be able to talk and to let people know what they're experiencing. And if you get a group of them together and someone starts sharing their story, there's bound to be somebody in there say, child, I'm a witness. I know exactly what you're going through. And so that's what I would really love to do, just to be able to look at the military family, especially what's going on now in the world. We don't know what's about to happen with our military members. And so to be able to let that service member say, look, go do what you need to do for Uncle Sam. Your family is taken care of from top to bottom. Go. It helps a lot.
Okay. That's beautiful. That's something I never really would think of, but that's amazing, because not many people think of what the spouse of the United Armed Forces soldier goes through as far as support, resources, source of income, housing, things of that sort.
Yes. And housing is a big issue right now for service members because of the economy and everything that's going on.
I did not know that. I thought that would be one of the least of their issues, considering all of the bases. And I don't know if it's okay for people who are currently serving to stay on base and things like that. And so
no, it's with the rising prices of rent and everything else, the
Yes.
limited number of housing units that can house a lot of the service members' family, because not everybody has 1 or 2 kids. Some people have 5, 6, 7 kids. So
Right.
to have a house big enough to house the family is an issue. Then having enough houses for all these families is an issue. And then if they can't house them on post, they have the option to go off into the community to find houses. But what they're finding out is a lot of the times in the neighboring area, either the housing prices are extremely high, so the soldier can't afford it, or the houses have already been taken, so they have to go further out. I know people right now that have to drive over an hour from where they found a place to stay to where they're serving at.
Wow.
So it's getting pretty rough for as far as housing. So that's a major issue.
That is awful. I had no idea it was really just that expensive near the, I mean, yeah, it makes sense because the nearest base to me is Great Lakes. Great Lakes is about 45 minutes away, all a nice drive up the road. And I can only imagine how expensive it may be to stay nearby, despite the fact that it's supposed to be a little less expensive because it's further away from the city. And I can only imagine. And then especially since they're right there off the lake or close enough to the lakefront, and it's like, you all get access to the lakefront. That's not fair. That's what I would think in my mind, but then maybe for them it's for a reason. But but what do I know? That's just me thinking like a civilian and just doing it like that. But that is a very amazing passion project. That is amazing. And I know one of the things I've been seeing as far as the military when I watch like the media, like television, like the news on television, is how frequent it is for soldiers who identify as female to be assaulted while, serving. And it gets swept under the rug, it gets disrespected, it gets unheard, it gets, it's almost as if they want it to be like a boys' club, and I'm pretty sure that's not what they intended to be, but it's a lot more common than it should be.
Wow.
But it goes unheard because those voices get silenced by the powers that be in higher rankings. And especially if the higher ranking person who caused all this harm are male soldiers.
Yeah, there was a lot of worry from what I was hearing across the military as a whole when they lifted the don't ask, don't tell. It was a lot of worry. And, just me being me, I was just praying for those that were doing, like you said, identifying. And I was like, I'm not sure if that's, I'm not sure how they're going to take that. Because there are some, like you said, there are some people that are like, no. And there are some people like, yes. So you have both sides. And with military people, every 2 to 3 years or so, moving from post to post, you don't know where you may land. And so that was always my concern as to how the safety of everyone. So that was always my concern. And so to hear that from you, I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, it would have been a concern of mine. And what many people don't know, well, before I say this, I keep forgetting to say this, but thank you and your husband so much for your service.
Oh, absolutely.
I cannot thank you both enough, despite the fact that if it wasn't for school, I'd still rather be in a different country right now. But still, thank you for your service and anyone who serves this country. But what I was going to ask is, and you'll probably think this is a weird question, but we ask every question over here. Now, I told you how long I've been natural. So how long have you been natural?
I've been natural since 2009. I've grown my hair out this big. I've cut it all the way off. Yeah, I've always been natural since October 2009.
Wow. Okay. So how's it treating you? How's the journey treating you?
I love it. I'm always arguing with other people about natural hair, but for me, it was the best decision for me because during that time, I was getting relaxed as I was going to spend all this money at the beautician. And my last beautician, when I said, I'm thinking about going natural, she was like, don't you do that? That's not for everybody. And she gave me this long spiel. And I was like, you just want my money to keep coming up in here.
I mean, you can still get your money and you can still be natural.
She didn't do natural hair.
Well, then someone else could get your money and you can still be natural.
That was my thing. And where we were living at the time, she was one of the very few only Black hairstylists that did our hair.
Right.
So, we had slim pickings where I was at the time. So, so when I went in there and I told her, because at the time I had the Holly Berry cut, and it was like, and I was like, it was time for me to go get my touch up. And she was like, you ready? And I was like, no, don't touch it up. I want you to cut it off. And she was, I'm not cutting your hair. I told you don't go natural. And she gave me this long spiel again. So I said, you know what? Don't worry about doing my hair. So I ended up leaving. And I went on base and I went to the lady that was in there. And I said, can you just cut my hair off, please? And she looked at my hair. And because, when you first grow out a relaxer, it still got a lot of relaxer still left. And my new growth really wasn't fully in to where she was like, it was like October. And she was like, it's cold. I'm not cutting all your hair off. I'm not doing it. And she refused to do it. She said, come back and, another month. And then I'll cut it off. And then you have enough, have at least an inch of new growth. I can work with that. So I left. I went home. I went in the bathroom and my husband had clippers.
Oh, no.
And I had never cut hair. And I said, well, since nobody won't cut my hair, I'm going to do it myself. That's that control thing.
Oh, my goodness.
And I put a guard. I don't even know what guard it was. I just snapped the guard on his clippers and I just said, yeah.
And what?
Because I had been telling my husband, I had been telling my daughters, and I said, I'm going natural. And they were like, yeah, whatever. So when they went to work, I had hair. When they came back, I had no hair.
And what was his reaction? Because here's the thing, men are a particular way sometimes when it comes to women and their hair. You know what I mean? So what was his reaction seeing you with your hair?
He was livid. Oh, he was livid. My baby, my youngest daughter was like 2. So when I came out the bathroom, she was like, and she started crying because she didn't know who I was. And I was like, what have I done? And so when my oldest daughter got out of school, she was like, I can't believe you cut your hair. Oh my God. So everybody was in shock. But I had made up my mind.
Well, did you at least give your youngest daughter a hug for crying?
Yes, but that was my oldest daughter. A few weeks after looking at my hair, she says, I don't want to relax her anymore. I want to go natural because one of her friends at school went natural.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I want an afro. Like her thing was like, I want an afro.
Has she seen some pictures of the women in Black Panthers and decided to go with a fro?
No, she wanted this afro.
Because they be looking so beautiful and sexy at the same time. Back in the day, wearing the old black with the fro. And I'm like, dang, we need to bring that back.
I tell you. But her dad was like, please don't cut her hair off like you did yours. I'm not doing it. I could not cut her hair. And so I let her transition. I just let it grow out until she had a nice little fro. She had enough to where that relaxed hair and that natural hair started fighting it out. And you could not really get her hair apart anymore. So I had to just go on and cut it. She probably had like 4 or 5 inches at that point. And we just went on and cut it off. And she was so happy because she had this cute little fro.
Yeah.
And so she's been natural ever since as well.
Wow, that is so beautiful. I love that story. Yeah. I'm loving this journey.
And my youngest daughter has never had a relaxer. She's always been natural. But her thing is she likes her hair cut off. She doesn't want the fro. She wants hers low. Now my oldest daughter wants all this hair. She has all this hair.
Gender norms. I'm so here for it.
Yeah, so she likes to keep hers low. Every few weeks I go and I take her back down. You know, she likes it all even all over. So I was like, okay.
Yes, I love that. I love that so much. Wow. See, not only you are inspiring, but so are your daughters, and they're not even in the room.
Yes, we went to a basketball game once, and we were going to the bathroom from our seats going up doing halftime. And these groups of ladies out of nowhere just start yelling, ma'am, ma'am, ma'am. And I'm like, who are they talking to? So she's like, you. I was, me? And she's like, yeah, we love your hair. It was like a whole row of black ladies going, we love your hair. And I was like, it is huge arena. I'm like, I'm embarrassed right now, but thank you.
But yeah, don't be embarrassed. We do love you. I love your hair right now.
Well, now I'm in the middle of deciding if I'm going to let it grow back out or not. Of course, my husband's like, let it grow back out.
Try.
But I love my hair short. I guess I'm like, it's probably when my youngest daughter gets it from, because I love my hair short, because when it gets long, it's just a lot of work. And I don't press my hair, so I leave it in its natural state. So you got the detangling, you got the twist, you got all these different things. But I love the versatility of styling it. It's just the work of getting it styled when it's longer.
Now, pressing is not the worst thing in the world. However, I get what you're saying.
Well, my hair, if I would press it, my hair, even when I was relaxed, it loves heat.
Yes.
So I would probably have to press my hair like every other day, because it would just revert back. Even when I had relaxers, my hair would revert back so fast.
Do you live like in a warmer climate with a lot of humidity?
No, we cold over here.
So where you at? New York?
I'm not far from you.
Really?
No, I'm in the state next to you.
Then we need to get together and do some content.
Yes, I'm actually in the state close to you.
We're going to talk after the show. We're going to figure that out. Because we had to get together. We got to chat.
Yes, I'm not far from you.
Because meeting other content creators, I love it. I still fangirl, because to me, it's me meeting a celebrity, even though they say, oh, I seen you on TV. I'm like, me? Hello, me? But don't nobody recognize me when they see me. Well, actually they do, but then it's like, oh, because I recognize your eyes, or I recognize your voice. And I'm like, right. My voice? Who do you think I am? Dorothy Zbornak?
Oh, no.
Or Maud Findlay?
Oh, no.
Well, hey, I love both of them.
There you go. Win-win.
It's a win-win. I'm just like, as long as it's not a bad thing that you recognize me. Right. There you go. But yeah, don't nobody be recognizing me. But I love meetups. It's just those really huge meetups where everybody coming together. My anxiety is at 1,000. Social settings make me nervous as hell. And It's like, if it's like 2, 3, 4 people, okay, cool, I could do that.
Right, small setting.
Or 1, 2, or 3, sure, I can do that. But 20, 30, 40? And most of them are couples, mind you. If they're couples,
right,
I can't do it.
I'm with you. I'm usually one of those shrink back to the back behind everybody else. Like,
exactly.
I don't have that big personality. People, hey, I'm like, hi.
I don't. I mean, as quiet as it's kept, because like a lot of people who've seen The Message and Chasing Liberation, they'll say, "Oh, you seem like you're just such an engaging person." It's like,
you do.
Okay, thank you very much. But there's a lot more to me than that. Of course. It's almost like a turn on, turn off kind of thing. Not to say turn it on and turn it off. It's like, in a ways, it's more like, okay, I can engage in front of a camera, but then when the camera is off, I'm just relaxing, chilling, being introverted, my normal introverted self.
Same here.
In any setting, I'm introverted as hell, unless I know you and I like you and I actually want to interact with you. Like if I were to see you, or if I were to see, let's see who's in the jury that's here. Bella, for example. I love me some Bella. Bella, I would be like, hey Bella, there you going. Or if I see you, Kim, I'll be like, "Hey, Ted, how you doing?" Or if I see Ed, I'll be like, "Evolving with Ed, how's it going?" I need you to tell me to evolve is to live. But and same thing with Meet and I. When I met Meet and I, you might have seen that one episode of Chasing Liberation where I met them.
No, I missed that one. I go back and check it out.
It's a while back, yeah. But I was fangirling, and Meet and I will tell you, I was fangirling for real when I met them. But that's kind of like how I am when I see people who are just as, larger than life and amazing on this platform. So
right,
I just try to give flowers where I can. But me, I just try to keep it humble because even though I'm doing it too, I'm still learning so much.
Yes,
from everyone else. I'm learning from you. I'm learning from Bella. I'm learning from
every
Evolving with Etta. I'm learning from the Points Blank experience.
Yes.
I'm learning from Meet and I. Definitely learning from Elevate with Vern. So
right.
There's another question I have that's not written down. So some questions I'll ask, they are written down because I'm very on it when it comes to preparation. But some questions will come off the dome. So this one absolutely. Is come off the dome, and that is, can you define what faith is for you and how it has led you through some of your trials and tribulations?
Oh, wow. Another great question. Faith defined by me is the ability to believe when you can't see. The ability to say, I can, when everything inside of you is telling you you can't. Faith to me is defined as being able to, when someone says no, not quitting and taking that no as saying next opportunity and you keep going. It just means you need to go to someone else. They weren't the right person to go to. That's the faith to believe that I'm going in the right direction, but no matter what happens, I made the commitment to that direction and I have to keep going because faith tells me that my winning season is just on the other side of this obstacle. But I'll never get there if I let these no's, if I let these boundaries, if I let these obstacles stop me here. I have to get on the other side of that mountain. I don't know what's on the other side of that mountain. That's where faith comes in. But I believe it's for me. God has something for me on the other side. So I have to keep pushing. Without faith, you're going to quit. When someone says no, you're just going to fall completely apart. You're going to give up and you're going to quit. But with faith, it's going to push you through any obstacle that may come your way. So that's what faith is to me. It's the ability to believe when everything else seems like it's a no. You still believe. You don't need a lot of it. Like the Bible says, just a little bit. That's all you need. And with that faith, it's going to keep you going when you want to quit. And that's what faith is to me.
I asked that question because I noticed that you made many references to your spiritual reliance as far as God and your higher power, the higher power that sustains you.
Yes.
And how you have been sustained through all of the trials, all of the tribulations, and how all of your tests were turned into the testimonies that you shared today. And I thought about faith. And faith is something that, although I'm embracing it a lot more than I ever did, for me, it still wavers. And I'm trying to gain that sense of, I wouldn't say control, but a better handle on maintaining it, even in the face of the worst adversities.
Mm-hmm.
And listening to you was just, I had to close my eyes and process everything that you're saying.
You know, I would be lying if I said, oh, my faith is strong. No, there are days when I'm like, help. My faith wavers. and I'll get weak just like anyone else, and I'll make mistakes, and I'll probably think something or do something that's displeasing to God. But when it comes to faith, you have to realize that you're fighting another power that's going to test that faith, because they're not going to make it easy for you, no matter what you're trying to do, especially if it's in alignment with what God created you for. It's not going to be easy. Everything is going to be tested, to include your faith. But that's when you have to dig deep and speak to yourself and encourage yourself and say, I can do this. I know it's more out there for me. That's your faith kicking in just a little bit. That's your faith telling you, Angelina, you can do this. Yes, you're going to have an enemy. We all do. The adversary is not going to make anything easy because he wants you to fall. That's his mission, to steal, kill, and destroy every dream, every goal, everything about you. That's his mission. But you have to decide who's going to win this, me or them. And the only way you stop an adversary is to win, no matter what arrows or bricks or obstacles they throw at your way. My grandmother taught me as a kid, when bricks are thrown, you pick those bricks up and you build a platform or a house, but you never let them stop you. Even if they smack you right between your eyes, you take that brick, you learn the lesson, and you keep going.
Wow. Ooh. I'm sorry, I gotta take that. I have to take it in. And the reason why I'm taking it in is because this conversation right here is one of the biggest reasons why I created this particular space. And I curated this space, not as a host, but as a facilitator.
Right.
And I did it because I wanted to ensure that anything that I do as a public face or as a public figure is done with such a purpose.
Right.
And that is so important to me. And it is especially important that I ensured that for the initial season of the message, that I have you in the space, because you have such purpose.
Thank you. Thank you.
And your purpose, it exudes when you speak. It exudes when you highlight the talent of others, and when you highlight such amazing gems of wisdom. I know the babies are so blessed to have the both of you and their father.
To God be the glory. We take no recognition in that. If it wasn't for God, we wouldn't be who we are and who he's evolving us to be. I wouldn't be able to speak, because for quite a few years, actually, I didn't speak. I was very reserved, very quiet, very standoffish. My cousins would tell you, they had to describe it. They probably call me antisocial at best, because I just didn't engage. I was more of an observer. And so I would sit back and just watch people and listen and pay attention to what's happening around me. But when you step out on faith and you feel that tugging for more, like there's like I said, the voice for the voiceless. When you see enough people be hurt, when you see enough people get hit with those bricks,
yes,
somebody has to stand up. And that's kind of what God has me to do. And I always tell people I'm like a Brillo pad. I tell the unadulterated truth. It may hurt, it may scratch you up a little bit, but just like when you shine a pot and you're trying to get that stuff off that pot, you got to get that Brillo pad to get that pot restored. That's what I am. By the time I get finished, God gets finished using me to scrub you, you're going to be pure and shiny, like a brand new item. So sometimes you need that person to kind of come in there, shake you up a little bit, say, look, get yourself together, Angelina, you got this. Sometimes you need that. And that's what kind of God had to show me, that it's okay he created me that way. And so I'm just honored that you actually have me on here, and I'm actually able to say something that's impacting you.
Yes, you impacted me from the day I saw you on the Point Blank Experience. And I said, I want to be her friend. Not just, admire her content, but I want to be her friend. And hopefully one day that'll happen in real life. Because in my head, it's like, I think we're going to be really cool. I can learn so much from her. Ooh.
Yes, absolutely.
Because there's so many things that, for me, I take in, and pretty much what you described yourself to be, how you were, is kind of a little bit of what I'm going through now still. In most settings, I am that reserved person who says nothing. Now, if I am pushed to the stage, I have no choice but to either sing or die. Okay, I'll go ahead and sing, and I sing well, thank God. But if I
would love to hear you sing. Is it on your channel? I said I would love to hear you sing.
Yes, it is. It's actually on it's on one of the episodes of Chase Liberation when I went to New York. It was the episode where I went to the Tamron Hall show. Okay. And right before the show actually started, people were doing like talents and they were singing and stuff like that. And I sang a little something.
Because I saw you on the Tamron. I guess I missed that part. I'm gonna have to go back and check it.
Yeah, so I sang a little something on the Tamron Hall. Well, it wasn't on the show. It was before the show started. It was in the studio. And yeah, had a great time in New York. Every time I go to New York, I try to make sure to really do it up. So I don't know if I'll go this year, but it would not be a good year if I don't go. I'll say it like that. A year for me is never complete without at least one trip to New York.
I have never been in New York, and I have family in New York, all over New York.
You have family in New York and you've never been?
I've never been to New York.
Do you want to go?
I would love to go, but I've just never been to New York.
Well, I say when you get a chance, you got to carve that time out for yourself. I said this to one of my colleagues at the work study last week. I said to her, if you want to take the time to do something for yourself and take a day off, then do that. But you got to carve it. You got to give yourself the permission to do it. If you don't carve yourself that time for the day off, then it will eventually lead to the burnout. And
yes,
I don't want you to experience it, but it sounds like that's the direction you're heading toward. Not you, but that's what I was saying to my colleague. And although she has still yet to do it, I think she hasn't done it because, we're almost at finals week. Finals week is in the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
So she's probably waiting until then. And then on the flip side, there's also an election going on for the Student Government Association. And she's running for student trustee.
Nice. Okay.
So I think that's the only reason why she might not have done it yet. But I hope she does carve that time out. And that goes for anyone. If you know you're needing time for yourself, need a day off. I know you may or may not get paid to have a day off. You don't have any PTO. But your health is way more important. And that damn job, that'll still replace you regardless.
Oh, yes. Big time.
And the Point Blank Experience is asking, Kim, you have to go to New York.
I know. My family, I have cousins up there, and they're like, you have to come up here. We got to hang out. And I'm like, I'm always away from that side of the United States, it seems.
So listen.
I'm always in the Midwest. I'm always in the Midwest of the South.
So listen, since you are not that far from me, if I get a ticket to New York, I'm going to be like, listen, hey, ring, ring, ring. Kim, this is Ange. You coming to New York, right? Because I'm going in this month and I want you to join. We can meet up at O'Hare and we'll fly out to New York for a few days. Maybe we can meet some of the other content creators like Bella and maybe Vern, if she's willing to come from upstate or whatever.
Oh no, didn't Vern say she was afraid to fly? But she did fly though. So
she did fly and she conquered
that. Yes. I love flying.
I love flying too. That's the only way I travel. I don't do it any other way. Now, I mean, occasionally I have to make that decision between United and Southwest because those are my two favorites. But I make that decision. I make sure to make my way to New York. I spend some time there. I'm running around Manhattan and taking now the gag is I'm taking a subway in New York, but I have yet to take the train here since the pandemic. And part of it is because, and that's despite the fact that crime is up in both cities when it comes to transit crime.
This crime is getting out of hand.
I don't know the way of this world, but
I don't know.
But I mean, I think had it not been for the fact that renting a car costs so much, I probably would not have been. But I probably would have avoided the train in New York too. But then I realized, oh dang, between some of those bridges, you have to pay tolls to go to certain places. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with no tolls. Let me get on this train real quick. In season 2, I'll tell you this quick story, and I'm gonna get a couple of more questions out for you. In season 2, you'll see it on Chase Liberation if you watch.
Okay.
There's an episode where I went on another trip. It was to New York, and I did like a lift. I looked up the prices. Inflation just started, right? The Lyft wanted to quote me over $100 for a trip to the airport. Right?
Oh.
Now, of course, I didn't take that Lyft. So I took a whole different way to get to the airport. I'm not going to tell you how, because I want you to tune into season 2 of Chase Liberation.
Yes.
But just know,
that's a lot.
Inflation had started at that time. It was wild. But I don't take the train. I would love to, but I have a reason to. Because a lot of times when I leave school or leave campus, I have things to do before I go home. And if I take that train, I won't be able to do it. And then going up and down all them damn stairs.
That part.
That one will get on my nerves. However, I'm used to it. I do it anyway. I do it everywhere I go up and down a bunch of stairs. The New York stairs are a little different, but going up and down a bunch of stairs is still dang. But who is your favorite YouTube content creator?
Oh my goodness, that's like asking me who's my favorite kid. I can't do that.
Oh, come on. You have some favorites.
I have some favorites. Oh my goodness. Okay, everyone that's here in the chat, you.
Oh, thank you.
And of course, my home team, which would be 755 Media, Passionately Intrigued Arts, Crafty Leo, Shandy Cheek Music.
RC, Shandy, and Love and Live Show. And
Love and Live Show. Love them. It's so many. Goodness, we'd be here. Motivation from the Weightlifting Geek. Miss T with the T. Oh my goodness. Drea Lachey. It's so many of them that I'll be here naming all day and all night long. There's so many people that I watch. Odom's Homestead, a lot of gardening channels that I watch. So it's just a lot of it's so many great content creators. Like I can't just choose just one. It's like eating one chip out the bag. That's hard to do.
Well, yeah, because I never eat only one chip out of the bag. I can never do, especially these Lay's sour cream and onion chips. You can't get that. I usually just inhale the whole bag and one.
No, not the whole bag. Listen, I just went and bought because I saw someone's short. And I said, I was happening to go to the grocery store today, and I was like, oh, there's those chips somebody reviewed. Let me try them out. They were the sweet and tangy Doritos.
Yes, I've seen those.
And I was like, I better like these. So they're actually pretty good. They definitely have the sweet and tangy locked down. But that spice at the back end, when you finish it, kind of hits you back here. You're like, okay, there's that kick. There's that kick. Okay.
But yeah, I love me some spicy chips though. Can never go wrong with buying me a bag of spicy chips, especially if it's the extra flaming hot Cheetos.
Oh yeah, I like the regular ones. Yeah,
not the regular flaming hot Cheetos.
Oh,
but
that's
the extra. Like
I
wish I had one to show you. Let me see.
Whoa! Oh no,
you never seen it?
I've seen them, but I haven't tried them. I think I'm just gonna stick with the regular ones.
No, the regular ones are not even spicy to me anymore.
What have you tried? The hot chip?
About this one right here.
Yeah, I've saw. No. You
would try them?
No.
They're delicious.
You about to have me in the hospital so bad.
You not the hospital.
I'm gonna let you pick somebody else. No, I am not.
You would not be in the hospital.
Yeah.
I think you would be just fine. You just don't give you some.
Kick that back real quick, like a kung fu kick. Like no.
Yeah. So for those of you, if you never tried this, go ahead and give it a try. It's delicious. See, his tongue is flaming.
No, that's not good. Have you tried the hot chip challenge since you like spicy foods?
No, and I know better.
Oh, that's your lie?
I know better. I know better, and that's because I see what happened to Christy Griffin from the Keeping Up with the Griffins. She tried it the first time with the family. And then when they tried it the second time, she said, nope. That's enough for me because Christy is a thug, but she didn't want to try that chip challenge again. So I was like, no. If she ain't tried it again, then I don't need to try it.
I'm not touching that either. I'll watch people so I can laugh, but I'm not tasting that.
But yeah, I let everybody else do the challenge. I'm not a big challenge person. In fact, I tend to challenge everybody else. In season 2, Change Liberation, I'm issuing out a few challenges to some of the people in the jury.
I'm
just saying. Yeah, I'm just issuing out challenges left and right, but that's cool. But let me see. If there was anyone who you would bring back from the heavens to have one heart-to-heart with, who would that be and why?
My mom, because she left when I was 17 and she was only 48 years old.
I'm
and so thank you. And that would definitely be the number one on my list, outside of my grandparents, of course, but my mom, because I have so much that I would love to have allowed her to see. You know, so many accomplishments and different things that, you know, and I said it then when she passed, and I'll say it now. I just believe that she was just robbed of that opportunity because there was a lot riding from her on me. Like I said, I was the youngest. I was the only one to graduate high school. And she passed October, and I graduated that June.
Oh.
And so I would definitely bring her back, just if it was only just for a moment, just to have a conversation, even if we didn't say words, just to hug her, you know, and that would be just the greatest thing ever. So that would be the one I would bring back.
Wow. I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Ooh. I'm trying not to think of that question because even though I just asked it to you, it's like for me, I couldn't pick just one person.
Yeah, it would be a bunch, but that would be
the number. A bunch, but yeah, and even with the people who have lost, I could not, in my heart of hearts, just pick one person because everyone who I have lost meant something to me.
Yes, a lot.
And although some people held particular roles in my life compared to some others, they were just as influential, if not more.
Right.
And
yeah, my angels, you know, my mom, my grandmother, and my grandfather, which was her parents.
Yeah.
And, you know, those were the ones that made me who I am today. Those are the ones that laid the foundation. I wouldn't even be who I am without them.
Yeah.
And so, believe it or not, when I got ready to walk across the stage for my master's, we were in the hotel and I was putting on my cap and gown, and my husband helped me get everything on. I just cried. And he was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "I wish my mom and my grandparents were here." And it took me a minute to get myself together, to, you know, get in the car, go to the ceremony, because I was just tore up, because I was like, Wow. And then for me, when I walked across the stage and I got my degree and we turned to face the audience, you know, you do the wave.
Yeah.
I looked and was able to see all my classmates that I was graduating with. I was the only African American female in the master's degree program that graduated that day.
Wow.
And I was just like, whoa. And so I noticed a bunch of people stand up clapping and clapping. I was like, oh, yeah, they clapping. But I realized what it was. I was like, wait a minute. All these students here, because they had the undergraduate and the graduates graduating at the same time.
Yeah.
I was the only one in the master's degree program.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa. It was an amazing feeling. That day really tore me up to have that another momentous occasion. And they're not, even though I felt them, I just wanted them to be there.
Yeah, it's not the same as them being there in person. And for that feeling, I tend to feel that way about my grandmother, my maternal grandmother. If there was no one else who was there, who was always there from the beginning up until the end, it was my maternal grandmother. She was definitely, my granny was there. You know, not to mention she had such a beautiful, beautiful spirit. She was introverted too. And I think she may have known when to turn it on and turn it off, but she was introverted just like I was. Aww. And maybe that was just where I got some of that from.
I'm sorry for your loss. You know, we all have had to say, I'll see you later to a lot of great people.
Exactly. And it's been happening so frequently, and over the last year, losing so many people, and it kind of makes you wonder, like, should I even open up? And that's one of those things I've been asking myself for the last year, especially after my sister / bestie Elise passed away. And it was like, do I even need to open up? Because there are new people coming into my life, or people who are around, but then they weren't as close. And it's like, should I even open up because of that fear?
You can't live in fear. You have to. What would she want you to do?
Right.
That's what I have to keep telling myself when I wanted to give up. And because when my mom passed, it was a lot of stuff that happened to me. And I gave up. I turned my back. It was just a lot of craziness going on. And I had to have someone come over and they talked to me and they was like, what would she would have wanted you to do? You can't shut down. What would she want? What would put a smile on her face? You have to keep that smile on her face. So if I were to give you any advice on that, what would she want? Would she want you to be sad and given up and closed off? No.
No, not at all. She would definitely push me to be the more extroverted person, because she was introverted too, but she was a smidge more than I was. And she would definitely say, keep going. She would say, you got this.
Exactly. I agree. I concur. You got this.
Thank you so much for.
Besides, you're robbing the world of your greatness if you don't.
Yeah.
You got this.
Thank you so much for that. And this is why, everyone, members of the jury, this is why I entitled this. I curated this space, entitled this The Message. This is why.
Absolutely.
What advice would you give either to an undergraduate or a graduate student who's at the end of their rope with the barriers that they're facing as they're completing college?
The best advice I would give to an undergraduate would be the same advice I would give to anyone. And that's, remember your why, remember your purpose, because you're coming to a pinnacle part of your college time frame. And after college, you're going to run into another test of time. And you have to be willing to remember when times get hard, why you're doing what you're doing. Why did you go to college in the first place? Because it's going to be that why, the answer to that why, that's going to propel you to your next level. Because if you sit and you think and you get stuck in a place, in a rut, and you feel like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, you'll never move. But the moment you go back in your mind and you say, this is why I've made the sacrifices that I made to get through college. This is the reason why I'm doing everything in my power to get through college. This is why I'm trying to go to my next level after college. That answer, or those answers, is going to be the pinnacle, the most important thing you're going to need to go wherever you're going, whether it's to graduate school, whether it's to the Fortune 500 or 5,000 company, wherever you're going to have to remember that why. Because believe it or not, graduating from your undergraduate is only the beginning. It's only the tip of the iceberg. You still have so much more learning to do outside of that university or college area. You have so many more experiences to experience. And not all of them are going to be pleasant, but they're all going to be learning lessons. And it's going to take that why. It's going to get you through any obstacle. So remember why you're doing what you're doing. Remember why God created you. Remember, I hate to sound like I'm a part of Lion King, but it's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
You know, you have to understand and remember who you are. Because when you come in connection with that, and when you come into alignment with who you are, your purpose, why God created you in the first place when he could have created anybody else, and why he gave you your mission, when you come in connection with that, everything else will align with that. But it's all based on you knowing your why and the answers to that why.
Wow. Knowing your why. Whew. Oh my goodness. That was so beautiful.
Because for a lot of years, I didn't know my why. I didn't know my purpose. So the person you see today went through her own tests and trials. April is always a hard month for me. Because in 2004, they gave up on me. I was supposed to be dead.
Who's they?
The doctors. I had a massive infection in my lungs.
Oh no.
And they had literally told my husband to call my family. They were just pretty much waiting for me to just cross over.
Oh no.
That's how sick I was. And so to still be here, I had to have a serious talk with God. And when I understood my why, when he made it clear my purpose, there was no more turning back. There was no more excuses. Bump every boundary, every obstacle, every naysayer. I'm on a mission. Because if he brought me through that, I mean, this close to death, there is no way somebody's no is going to stop me. Because he brought me through that, he'll bring me through this. So remember your why. It's not going to be easy. People are going to turn their backs on you. People are going to disappoint you. People are going to say all kinds of things to you. Just like they did Jesus. One minute they're saying Hosanna, next minute they're saying crucify. The same thing is going to happen to you along your journey, but that's when you got to dig into that why.
Yes. Oh, I needed that. I needed to hear that, but so do so many people. Wow. Remember your why. I'm definitely not going to forget that. Before I get to the final question, I must ask this question. I know earlier you mentioned that you created your own acrylic art pieces.
Yes.
Have you ever considered writing your own either memoir or just anthology of your stories, your testimonies of your life that can impact and change the world?
Absolutely. I have held on to this book that I wrote for a few years now. And it's a very special book to me. It shares an important journey in my life with my mom and I. And I held on to it, and I'm still holding on to it. At first, I was like, I have to find an editor, you know, because when I first finished the book, editors were the ones that I knew had raised their prices, or some decided they weren't doing editing anymore. They was doing something else. And so I was like, I got to find an editor because I need another set of eyes on this. And it got to a place where I got to a point where I was like, it's so personal. I had trouble putting it in someone's hands because it is such a special story and, you know, real life experience. And it's funny that you asked me that question because my best friend, she always says, where is my book? Where is my where is my book? Why are you still holding on to this book? You need to release that book. And this year, I told her not too long ago, I said, this is going to be the year. Because everybody keeps asking me, when are you going to write a book? When are you going to write a book? And I'm like, God, are you trying to tell me something? You got all these people asking me about a book that they don't know about. They don't know about this. So I'm going to take that as a sign, Angelina. So this will be the year. This will be the year I really focus on finding the right people to get that book out there.
Okay, so you all heard it here first. The Educated Natural. You heard it here first. The Educated Natural is releasing a book. Now, as far as the date, she'll let you know, but I'm definitely getting in line to get my copy, and I'm hoping to get it signed and get a photo and all that and shoot some content, all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
Because I would definitely buy it. I need to start building a bookshelf. And then I'll put your book right next to my Mariah Carey memoir.
Okay. Hey.
So I'm looking forward to it. And
yes, I'm going to take this as a sign because once again, you've asked me the same question people keep asking you.
And I don't know your sister either.
Exactly. And I'm like, goodness, okay, the book. I'm going to do a book. People have been asking me this for years. And now it's coming back again. Because she just asked me just a few weeks ago when I talked to her. She was like, excuse me, it's a new year. Where's the book?
Not where's the book. That's like people asking Rihanna, where's the new album?
Right,
and it's like, Rihanna ain't coming out with no album.
She's taking care of her babies.
She just did that performance, did a couple of songs for a soundtrack, and she went back home because she's expecting another baby.
Right. But yeah, I definitely need to get this book out there because it's going to touch a lot of people just based on the people that I've seen who don't even know I'm writing this book, but just hearing their experiences, I'm like, that's in my book. That's in my book too. Okay.
For sure. See, that's inspiring me to get some work out too.
Yes, you need to write a book too.
And I will. And when I do, I would love for anyone who supports and purchases a book, if they want to have it signed, I'll be more than happy to sign it.
Absolutely. I don't mind signed too.
If they want a photo, I'll be more than happy to do that too. We just have to go from there. I just have to get that first project. Once you get that first project out, it gets easier from there.
Yeah.
I just want to self-publish personally.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
So that's something we may talk about after the show.
Yes.
So my last question is, what can the YouTube universe look forward to seeing from you, the Educated Natural, as far as content or even a meetup in 2023 leading into 2024?
Wow, a meetup would be cool. That would be cool because I'm seeing all these other meetups, but none of them really in like the Midwest. Like they're like way down in Texas or way on the West Coast.
I know. And half of the people in the chat were the ones in the meetup in Texas, and then the other half were meeting up on the East Coast.
So I'm like, oh, what about everybody else? But as far as content goes, more education. There has been so many things that have happened as far as intellectual property. There's been so many different changes, even on social media platforms. And I just want to continue to educate people because there are so many people that's under this cloud of thinking that it's okay to steal from other people, steal pictures or ideas or designs. And I just really want people to protect what they have worked so hard to create. And so a lot of people don't know what they don't know. And the reason why they don't know is, number one, they never picked up the book to read about it, to learn, or no one has said anything. So my mission now is to shorten the space with the gatekeepers. There's a lot of gatekeepers. There are a lot of people that have crossed over things. They're not telling people how they did it. So since God has allowed me to educate myself on so many things when it comes to not only intellectual property, but business, and I want to be the voice out there of saying, hey, what that person told you is the wrong information. That's going to lead you down this road. Here's the right information. And that's what you're going to see from the Educated Natural, just a lot more important, pinpoint, educational information out there for you, especially if you're in business. I'm trying to get connections with so many other people. I've been privileged to connect with some attorneys that are IP attorneys, patent attorneys, trademark attorneys, and people that build businesses, from helping you do your business taxes. I have a person that, she was my former coach. She does business taxes, people that do bookkeeping. So I'm trying to get all these business pieces together so that people will stop building these bad businesses. Yeah. And so that's kind of my mission, to help people do things finally the right way. So that's what you're going to see from the Educated Natural. So, and like you said earlier, Angelina, you have your R now. And so, so that is exciting for me to see people taking control of their intellectual property. So yeah, that's what I want to do.
Yes. And it took a while, but I'm so blessed to have it. And it's because I've seen you do it. I've seen Bella do it.
Yes.
I want to do it too. So I'm doing it.
That's it.
So it's just a matter of building upon the brand, right?
That's it.
But before we go to break, tell the people out there where they can find you.
Everywhere and anywhere. You can find me at my website, www.theeducatednatural.com. You can find me on all social media platforms, to include YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. I'm everywhere. Just look for The Educated Natural. Very simple.
Okay. Did that include Twitter?
Yes.
Because I tried looking for you on Twitter and I could not find you.
On Twitter, it's Educated Natural. I dropped the.
Damn.
That's probably why.
That's why I couldn't find you. Because I was promoting the show on Twitter, but that explains why.
Yes.
But
that's the only one that's different.
Well, that's okay. Twitter likes to do that to us, because I had to drop Lena from Angelina Nordstrom, and definitely couldn't add the Honorable to it. I said, isn't that a bitch?
Come on, just a few more letters. Come on.
Just a few more, several more in this case, because I need to add the Honorable and then Lena. And I would have been fine. But Twitter, we already know who's running it. But so, again, The Educated Natural, everyone. Show her some love. Throw some black hearts in the chat if you're still here. Please throw some black hearts in the chat. Because I know that we went on a lovely roller coaster ride.
Yes.
And we learned so much today.
Thank you.
So we're going to pay some bills, and we'll be right back. And we're going to go ahead and conclude. So we will be right back after these important messages.
Promotional considerations have been paid by the following.
What's going on, everybody? How you feeling? How you living? It's your favorite gamer's favorite gamer, Big Daddy Beard, and welcome to my channel where I bring you tons of live video game streams, various topics on my podcast, The Debate Table, and the opportunity to advertise and promote your channels, business endeavors, etc. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Hope you all enjoy. We out here.
And we're back. Normally, at this point, I would do a final thought. And we got some love.
Thank you.
All with Etta, me and I. Jill's Chocolate Boutique. Welcome in, Jill. And welcome in, DJ Uncle Phil. And welcome in everyone who I did not get a chance to say hello to earlier. Once we are in it, we are in it. But normally around this point, I would do a final thought. But because we spilled so much wisdom and so much knowledge to the point where it stands on its own, I don't have to end it with anything. In fact, 10 just took us on a ride. It was like a tour de France, just through life and just learning so much. So much. I'm still trying to collect myself right now. And it's been about an hour and a half or over an hour and a half since we started this.
Thank you so much.
And whatever you set your mind to, whatever you do, you got this. I know it.
So do you.
And thank you so much. And when I first curated this space, I was like, I definitely got to have the Educated Natural on here.
I'm honored.
Definitely got to have her on here. But I hope to have you for season 2.
Absolutely. What does the song say? Just call and I'll come running.
Yes. And if you ever need me on your channel, feel free.
Oh yes, you're definitely coming over. Definitely.
Yay!
Definitely. I was gonna say that.
I just hope that my schedule isn't so conflicting, like moving forward, because this semester was so difficult, but I'm making it work. You know what I mean?
Got it.
And so, thank you so much for being on. Your presence means a lot to me. You're welcome back anytime. And now that you've been here, you are considered family now.
Thank you.
Definitely considered family now. So, any final words before we sign off tonight?
Just put and keep God first in everything you do, and everything else will fall in line.
Yes. And you heard that. Keep God first. And the only other thing I will say is to never allow your faith to waver. And the last remaining bit of it can carry you through. Yes. And it can carry you through anything.
Absolutely.
And to always allow your faith to guide you and allow the voice of those who encourage and love you, the Most High, to guide you. You can't go wrong. So with that being said, thank you all so much for watching tonight's episode of The Message. If you haven't already, please hit that like button below. Don't forget to share this out with your friends, your neighbors, your followings, your least favorite supervisor, your mom, your dad. They'll love this. Share this with your professor. They'll love this too, because we talked about a lot of academic and collegiate stuff here. I'm the Honorable Angelina Nordstrom. We finally were able to get 10 and then in the same space.
Yes.
So thank you all so much for being here. And for our next episode, which is going to be our season finale, we will be having the Consciously on. And so I'm looking forward to seeing each and every one of you on the next episode. And it's going to be a very special edition episode too, taking place at a secret location. I'll reveal to you where that's at when we have it. So I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode. I'm the Honorable Angelina Nordstrom. Everyone, you have a wonderful evening. It looks like Etta says, have a wonderful weekend. Happy weekend, beautiful people. Same thing to you, Etta. Etta was on last week. So if you haven't watched last week's episode of The Message, please feel free to watch that. Etta was so wonderful. And I love me some evolving with Etta.
Yes.
So definitely have a great night. Have a great weekend. Be good to yourselves and take care of yourself and each other. Okay.